to the northern border between Lebanon and Israel, and perhaps even further afield as well.
Thanks very much. We're Davis for us there in Jerusalem. Let's talk more about this now with my colleague Saeed Shehata, who's here with me in the studio from BBC Arabic. If we could perhaps pick up on what Wira Davis was saying there about the Palestinian Authority and in terms of what role they could play in this, what do you think?
The problem in Gaza, Hamas controlling Gaza since the winning the election in 2006. Even they are not representing the whole people in Gaza because there is no elections since this time. But at the same time, there is people frustration because of the blockade of Israel, the poverty, as it was mentioned, about 70% live in poverty. So the situation there makes people like supporting Hamas, but not are a member of Hamas or believing in the idea of Hamas. So Hamas, as an organization, there are about 25,000 fighters. The idea or ideology of Hamas is there, but the majority of people in Gaza, they are not supporting Hamas. So, and this is the reason when I said it should be differentiation between the civilian people and Hamas, because civilian people are affected because the Hamas leaders are in Qatar, the Hamas fighters are underground. So the innocent people pay the price. And this is the reason they need to put measures on the ground to make sure the fuel and other resources go to civilian people.
But who would they want to represent them, the Palestinians?
The Palestinian people, at the same time, there is in the Palestinian authorities, there need to be another elections. So to see who is going to take, because even some people saying the Palestinian Authority, and some of them, they don't believe in them because they go for the peace process, and some voices in Gaza, they don't believe in peace process, but the majority are for peace. And in this case, is the way, according to many analysts, a Palestinian state to go back again to the peace negotiation, to make a Palestinian state, I think will stop any excuse or anything from Hamas to attack Israel. I think once they agree on a Palestinian state, according to Oslo, when they agreed on Oslo, so to activate the peace process, I think this, according to many analysts...
They haven't managed it before, though, have they? And things seem to be so much worse now, don't they?
I know, but it is more pressing to do that because the situation now, what happened in Israel was unprecedented and was very bad for Israel to lose 1,400, more than 220 people hostages. So it's not good for Israel also. So we need to talk about the both sides. So, but at the same time, more than 7,000 people died in Gaza, and because the fuel, the hospital can only admit the emergency cases. The food situation is dire and problematic because only 84 aid lorries went there, but before the war, 500 lorries go there. So I think the current situation should make all the leaders, even within Israel, to go to the peace process, because the peace and establishing a Palestinian state, I think it will help to ease the tension, to make life easy for everyone, because like Palestinian feels they go for peace, but they went for peace since Oslo, but there is no Palestinian state. So they have like some frustration, some grievances, and they call for the Security Council resolution to be applied for a Palestinian state. I think once they agreed on that, I think it will help to ease the tension. And because even with Israel trying to do, it's very hard to eradicate Hamas because Hamas underground. So there is be complex way in order to eradicate Hamas, and Hamas also ideology in the mind of some people. So they need to fight the ideology, and I think fighting the ideology will help by establishing a Palestinian state, because people can say now we have a peace with Israel because they accepted the resolution, and we can live peace side by side in two countries.
Well,
and these are calls for.
Meanwhile, there is an intensification, isn't there, going on in Gaza right now? It feels things like getting worse rather than moving towards what you're talking about.
Unfortunately, and every day, I before I come on air like few minutes, I saw a video for a young Palestinian guy from Gaza. There is a group on WhatsApp from journalists all over the world, and they get some videos from Gaza, and the guy's calling for international intervention in order to stop killing children and women and all of these people. So the war, whoever paying the price, is the innocent people. And so in this case, the situation is getting worse every day because the war is carrying on. So the EU leaders calling for a pause in the fighting, they're calling for humanitarian corridor. Even Jordan suggested a draft resolution and agreed, voted by 120 countries in General Assembly of the United Nations for a humanitarian truce. So all voices in the world calling that. I think Israel should listen to the people or the international community and help the humanitarian people. We don't ask Israel to help or to let the fuel and the stuff to Hamas, because there is checks. There is stringent checks on the lorries going to Gaza. So there is no way, or it will be very hard for the fuel and the humanitarian aid to go to Gaza. So there is pause in the fighting, more aids, and I think talking in the near future about peace process and revitalizing the Oslo agreement and kind of peace. I think this will help to end, will be lasting peace between Israel and their neighboring countries, especially Israel calling for normalization with Saudi Arabia and other countries.
Yes, okay. Well, thank you very much, Saeed Shehata there. Thank you from BBC Arabic.